class. Today's lesson is going to be over 6-4, the nth roots, and I'm actually splitting this up over two lessons. The first one is going to be over even roots, and the second video will be over odd roots. So today we'll just look at certain problems on this, and then tomorrow or the next time you view the video, you will look at the remaining problems. I'm not going to really go over these definitions of the roots because I think that they kind of muddy the water a little bit, make these confusing. So I'll just tell you what you need to know as we go along. When you've got the two examples that are worked out for us, and sometimes it might be helpful, instead of to rewrite this the way they did, they took and rewrote what was underneath the radical to start with, that 49 is 7 squared, and that z to the 8th is z to the 4th squared. And then they took the square root, which just means you divide the power by 2, so it gives you 7z to the 4th. I would have said you could do it like this. You could have done the square root of 49, the square root of z to the 8th. Well, the square root of 49 is 7, and z to the 8th, the square root just means you take z 8 divided by 2 would give you 7z to the 4th. Okay, on the second one, if you take the square root of 144, it's 12. If you take the square root of p to the 6th, it just means you divide this 6 by 2. Okay, just think of dividing it. The square root is divisible by 2, and you end up with a 3. But notice that this is in the absolute values. So this is the one rule I want you to try to remember, is that when you have an even root, or even power, but you take the root of it and it becomes odd, you have to put it in absolute value. Okay? P to the 3rd must be positive according to the rules, so we must take the absolute value. So I'll try to catch those as we do these. Okay, to start with, got the square root of 81, which hopefully you know that is 9. Well, my board's going to act up. Let me see if I can move that problem over. I don't even know if it's going to let me move it. No. That works. That works. That works. That doesn't work. So let me just rewrite that problem. Number 3. Not writing it up there. Let's just do it here. 3. We have the square root of 81. Well, hopefully you know that's just 9. You might know, though, if not, that you might know that 81 is 9 squared. If you take the square root of that, that would be 9 squared divided by 2, which also gives you 9. So the answer to number 3, the square root of 81, would be 9. On the next one, if you want to look at it and split it up into parts, you could have the square root, and again my board is acting up, of 16, square root of a to the 10th, square root of b to the 8th. Well, the square root of 16 is 4. 10, notice, is even, divided by 2, since we're taking the square root, would make it the absolute value of a to the 5th. And then b would be 8 divided by 2 would be b to the 4th. So 4, absolute value, a to the 5th, b to the 4th. Okay, the next one we're going to do is number 9, and I'm going to clear these out. I apologize. I don't know what's going on with the board. But I'll keep working with it. Maybe for next time it will be better. On this one, since this is all raised to the 4th power, when we divide 4 by 2, we get 2. So what we actually have is 4k squared, which is 16k squared. Now, that may be confusing. If you want to do 4 to the 4th, that's supposed to be a 4, divided by 2, and k to the 4th divided by 2, you might see that easier as 4 squared k squared, which is 16k squared. Notice this has a negative out here, so that just means our answer is going to be negative. So we've got negative square root of 625. And I think I'm going to write these like so. If I'm taking the square root of a power, I'm just dividing the power by 2. Okay, so the square root of the negative square root of 625 would be negative 25. This would be absolute value of y because we brought an even power and it's now going to be odd. And then we have z squared. So negative 25 absolute value of y, z squared. Okay, on number 14, I have a feeling my board's going to mess up again. Let me try though. Square root, square root of 36. Then we have q to the 34th divided by 2. So square root of 36 is 6. Q to the 17th, because we just took an even power and made it odd. So it's absolute value of q to the 17th. So again, you're dividing your powers by 2. This one, you've got the square root of 100. And we've got x2 divided by 2, y to the 4th divided by 2, z to the 8th divided by 2. So the square root of 100 is 10. We just made an odd power out of this, so this would be absolute value of x. This one would be y squared. This one would be z to the 4th. Now since this one, the whole thing is raised to the 4th power, to take the square root of it, you divide the power by 2. So we would have 11y squared all to the 4th divided by 2, which is going to give us 11y squared all squared, which would equal 121y to the 4th. This one's very similar. You're just going to divide by 2. Okay, so you're going to have negative 3c to the 4th divided by 2. So that's going to give us negative 3c squared. Well, negative times negative is a positive. So this will be 9c squared. And this is it for day 1 of the roots. I think I picked out all the even roots, the ones that started off even, or that we were taking the even root of. And remember that if it's an even root, and then when you simplify, you're left with an odd power, you have to put that part in the absolute value, okay? Well, that's it on this part. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.